All our faith, welcome back. Kaizer Chiefs 0, Mamelodi Sundowns 0. On a Wednesday, well-attended game, over 75,000 tickets sold. On a Wednesday night, 7:30, people came out in numbers. Kaizer Chiefs fans, the loyal fans of Kaizer Chiefs came out in numbers to support their team. And we saw the spirit in the players of Kaizer Chiefs, that they really appreciate the support and they are willing to fight. And that's one thing that I appreciated about the game yesterday against Mamelodi Sundowns, is that our players were really willing to give it a fight. And I'm very much impressed with everyone that started the game, is that they were willing to give it a fight. I know that there were performances that may not have been, so impressive, but I can tell you now, I will never doubt the fighting spirit of the players of Kaizer Chiefs. And if our players are going to do this week in, week out, when you are called upon to start a game, to play a game for Kaizer Chiefs, you give your all out, you leave your heart, your everything on the field, then we are fine. If we can do that week in, week out, boring games, the interesting games, the well-anticipated games, even the other games where conditions are difficult, no one really, there's no, expectations out of that game. We expect our players to give it all. And if that's what's going to happen, then we're going to go for. I don't buy this whole thing of Mamelodi Sundowns was not itself. They were out of shape. It's no longer the Mamelodi Sundowns we know. Blah, blah, blah. All that nonsense. I don't buy it. I think yesterday's results, that one point that we got, we shared with Mamelodi Sundowns in the game, was firmly based on the fact that Kaizer Chiefs showed up and they were able to fight, and they were able to fight a very strong team of Mamelodi Sundowns and get points. And these are very valuable points against Mamelodi Sundowns. Ordinarily, we lose such kind of points. We lose these games. We get leave the stadium not satisfied. But this time around, to leave with a point, it's very important to me. One thing that I want to point out is Mthethwa's performance. I've been very critical of the guy in that when we have the ball, he really doesn't really assist us. He is, when we have the ball, is passes sideways. He can't make that incisive pass forward. He lacks creativity, and sometimes the ball gets stuck, in between his legs. And what I liked about the game against Mamelodi Sundowns, that he was able to compensate for all of that through his work, how he was running all over the pitch, how he was breaking up play, how he was pressing up, how he was covering for our defense. Should one of the defenders go forward and we lose the ball, how he is able to, fill up that space and make sure that we have protection at the back. I think he played very well. And the fact that he got man of the match, I think, is well deserved. And it's not easy to get the man of the match against a team of Mamelodi Sundowns that dominates the midfield, but he was able to disrupt them. And Mamelodi Sundowns is a team of rhythm. They want to keep the ball, slow build up, and then hit you. But the game against Kaizer Chiefs, they were disrupted every time they wanted to do whatever they want to do. They are disrupted. Then the ball has to go back to Ronwen, and then Ronwen must kick it route one, and then it's a contested ball. And that is all credit to the players in the midfield, particularly Mthethwa. I think it deserves it. Another player that deserves it is Wandile Duba. I see some tweets and toxic fans trying to discourage the boy. Very good player of Kaizer Chiefs. The days of a very soft Kaizer Chiefs that allows opponents to play around and do whatever they wish and no one is scared of Kaizer Chiefs are long gone. And Wandile Duba is one of the players that introduces to us that spirit, the fighting spirit in the team, the aggression up front, the disruption of how he was disrupting players like Sales, players like Mrambola, very strong player, one of the best midfielders in PSL. How Duba was able to disrupt them, how he was able to run around, how he was able to chase whenever someone's trying to start the ball from from the back. I think I want to give him a lot of credit. Not soft boy, and a boy who understands what it means to play for Kaizer Chiefs. He's a fighter, and he needs to continue fighting. We don't want soft Kaizer Chiefs players. If we are not going to be able to afford, the so expensive players and all that, let's work with the ones we have. And the ones we have, if they're willing to work with their hearts and are willing to fight for the team, we must give them a backup, must give them credit. I mean, another player is Zita Kunika, for instance, who has done very well for a second choice, even third choice center back, to be able to come in, adapt, and play as if you're always ready. You have always been playing. We must give him credit. Credit to Miguel as well. He's a leader at the back, but I think Zita Kunika is professionalism. Is able to handle himself with professionalism. Is able when he comes in difficult games. If you remember, even last season, every time he came in with injuries at the back, it has always been difficult games, and he has showed up. He was able to defend the team. He was able to work with the collective, and that is one thing that we must be able to appreciate, that there is depth at the back. When we have Dotley back, if we have Aiden McCarthy back, and then we have Given Msimangwe back, and then we'll have 5 center backs, solid center backs, and I think we are very, very, very fine. And I think as well, when Zita Kunika does well, there's no reason to drop him unless tactically there are things he is unable to give you, and you think the other players can give, like those incisive passes, break the passes that break the line. The other players may be good in terms of that, but defensively, Zita Kunika is one of the players that has done well in this game against Mamelodi Sundowns. Credit also to Miguel, to Marco, and Monyane. I think Orlando Pirates did us favor there. They did well by letting go of those players, and they're playing for Kaizer Chiefs. I mean, the defensive work I see, but also going forward, one thing they give us in Kaizer Chiefs, that if you have a right back or a left back that goes and attacks, and you expect them to attack spaces, they need to be able to finish whatever they start. They need to finish the play. If they start, they make a run, they pass, they dribble past a man. When they have to make that final pass, they must finish it properly, so that we don't have problems at the back, and then we must struggle with counter-attacks, stuff like that. I think these two players are cool-headed. Monyane is cool-headed. I think Monyane also, man, if it was not Mthethwa who gets man of the match, I would look into players like Monyane, who did extremely well, I think, against Mamelodi Sundowns, fairly well against Mamelodi Sundowns. On the side of Sundowns, honestly, thinking about their game, the normal game of Mamelodi Sundowns, I think there was, on the side of Kaizer Chiefs, there was a lot of work that was done in disrupting the midfield, making sure that Tebuo, Alende, and the number 8 boy, they don't, gel together, play together, and get to be relax, and so that they can make those passes to Matthews. But one player that I think was a fighter in the game for Mamelodi Sundowns was Arthur Salez. That Arthur Salez guy is a fighter, a very, very, very strong fighter. He's able to drop, come fetch the ball, go with the ball, attack, carry the ball, make passes, even attempt. I think the attempts that were made by Mamelodi Sundowns is one that was made by Thabiso, counter-attack, and then there's one that went wide that was very dangerous by Arthur Salez. But Arthur Salez is a fighter, is defensively is a fighter, is able to fight, commits those fouls, and people don't value players that fight like that. That's why they don't value Duba. And having watched football, and I know that sometimes in certain games you're gonna need players that are going to make those small fouls, those small things to disrupt the flow of the game, and that's very, very much okay. It's part of the plan. But with Arthur Salez is different, because he was really fighting when his 3 midfielders were really not doing well, was fighting, and then he would still have to be present also in attack. I think he tried really, and So in terms of the attack in Kaizer Chiefs, I think that's one thing that we need to improve, because defensively, I mean, we have now 10 points with 4 clean sheets. We are second on the log, and the clean sheets really I credit to the defensive side of Kaizer Chiefs, that plays as a unit, that is able to defend well, that is able to be coordinated, to cover for each other. There's some form of brotherhood at the defense line of Kaizer Chiefs, and that is what we appreciate. I mean, we managed to defend against Mamelodi Sundowns, against Richards Bay, Polokwane City, and Stellenbosch, and those teams were finished in the top 8. They finished in the top 8 last season, and none of them managed to breach the defense of Kaizer Chiefs, and that is huge progress as compared to last season. But I think we need really to progress in terms of our attack, in terms of our creativity. Mdu's passes and game sometimes a little too soft, or just too hard of a pass. Sometimes he wants to beat a man when there's a pass available. He wants to pass when he can actually go and take on a man. And I think he can improve. He made it into the final list of the national team as we're headed to the international break. I think that will give him that confidence. I think the boy has improved this season, but we still need more from him. And I think in attack, the player that looks very dangerous for Kaizer Chiefs most of the time is Lilepo. I mean, when he has the ball, you can even hear and feel the anticipation from the fans of Kaizer Chiefs, that they know that something may come out. I mean, that shot and that save from Williams as well. I mean, that was a moment where you could feel that Lilepo is the guy that carries danger in Kaizer Chiefs, in the Kaizer Chiefs offense, and we need to improve in that. I know that we still have a lot of players that are outside. She's led. We have now Maboe, we have Da Silva, we have Velebai, we have Batman, who still need to contribute. I think also Vilakazi has to be used. The boy has the ability to make things happen, and he must not only be used when it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes before the game ends. I think he has a contribution in Kaizer Chiefs that he needs to be given a chance. When Mdu fades in the middle of the game, we need to be able to use other players. We need other players to come in. I know Gaston Sereno can no longer give us, the 90 minutes, but as well, him needs to be used as often as possible, so that we also lift off the pressure from Mdu to create and do everything alone in the pitch. Otherwise, really appreciate what happened yesterday. The only thing that I may think may be a problem is the subs. I don't know what is happening with Ashley Dupreez. I really don't understand what's happening with Ashley Dupreez. He needs to improve. Maybe the long spell on the bench and the injuries have really dealt with his confidence. But you can't have a player, a striker that can't control, that can't make decisions, that runs. His only strength is that he's able to run. No, it can't be. Even Duba is better currently as he is. He's much better. He's able to hold on to the ball, bring people, bring other players to come close and then make a pass and make a run. But with Ashley Dupreez, it doesn't impact the games as is expected to whenever he's given an opportunity. And I think he needs to improve, really needs to improve. Other than that, I think we're happy. Number 2, clean sheet, 10 points, and collected points against Mamelodi Sundowns. I think there's much to anticipate. The last thing that I want to speak about is that nonsense that Coach Nabi is back and now there's problems, we're not winning. I think that is nonsense that needs not to be entertained. We know how Kaizer Chiefs works right now. We know how those guys work together. We know how they are a unit, how they decide together. This is not a Nabi only team. This is not a Kazi only team. This is a collective team, and that's one thing that they've been building throughout from last season. And Kaizer Chiefs faithful must not fall into that trap of discussing that kind of nonsense. Must support the team, must support the players, and I think we'll end this season in a very, very good position, a very good spot, with probably, I believe, really believe that we might even have a silverware. That's it from me. Let me hear from you. Diba Lane Football Channel. Thank you, Marcos.